Today I want to share with you my top 5 tips for PhD students. I'm Dr. Elena Reister. I got my PhD in chemistry, and on this channel I make videos to help you complete your research with more confidence and less effort. Today I'm going to talk about 5 major tips that I learned throughout my PhD program that will help you make your PhD experience so much better and more successful. Tip number 1 is to set your work hours first. If you're on academic Twitter or if you've learned much about PhDs, you probably think that the best thing to do is just work all the time and that's going to make you the most successful. In reality, this really isn't true. In fact, the more you work, the more burnt out you're probably going to get and the less work you're actually going to get accomplished. So the best thing to do is to first set your work hours. Now, if you know what your classes are or what meetings you have, you want to make sure that your work hours are set, that it includes all of those classes and meetings in there, but you also want to set your work hours based on your own productivity schedule. If you know that you're an early riser and you like to get work done right away, then move your hours up earlier so that you can get in, get your work done, but it still overlaps with all of those meetings and classes you need to attend. If you're a late riser, try and come in, just before those meetings and classes and then stay a little bit later so that you're able to get all of your work in your most productive time. The important thing with setting your work hours is you shouldn't set your work hours more than 50 hours a week. In reality, 40 is probably a pretty good amount to set, but if you really want to work extra, I wouldn't go over 50 hours a week. At that point, you're more likely to dilute out your effort. So if you have a project that needs to be done by Friday and your set work hours is 80 hours that week, it's more likely to take you longer than necessary to complete that project, and you're probably not going to be spending all of your work time actually doing work, but you're going to be in that work mindset that's going to lead you to burnout. So set your work hours and set to accomplish all of your work within those set hours. When I started in graduate school, I didn't set work hours. I just came in and thought my life was grad school, and I realized that I wasn't near as productive because I would keep saying, oh, I'll do that on Saturday, or I'll do that Friday night, or something like that, and then when it came to Friday night or Saturday, I wouldn't want to do it, so then it just kept getting pushed off and off. Whereas into my second and third year, I actually started setting my work hours, and then everything needed to be completed within those hours. I actually started getting things done quicker, and I was overall more productive than I was when I was just going about, oh, I gotta work all the time, so I'm gonna just keep working and things will eventually get done. The second major tip for PhD students is that research is hard until you figure out why it's hard. This is the biggest thing that you can learn as a PhD student, because everyone's going to tell you that research is hard and because you're studying something new, it's supposed to be hard. In reality, research doesn't need to be that hard, but there are reasons why it feels hard. And so this could be because you don't know what you're doing most of the time. Again, a lot of people who come into a PhD program really have no idea how to do research because we've never been taught how to do research. And so if you feel like something is hard, instead of just keep going up against it and saying, oh, well, I gotta figure it out, I'm just gonna keep doing the same things over and over again until something works, go and talk to someone or read something or figure out something about why you feel like your research is hard. Don't wait before asking for help. I think this is something that is really common with PhD students, is that we think that we need to exhaust all avenues before we ask someone for help. This is really just delaying your progress forward. Be willing to go out and find the answer, even if that answer is asking someone else for help to that answer. You can realize that something that might take you weeks on your own, you could get solved within a few minutes with somebody else who's knowledgeable on the topic. So don't be afraid to go and ask people for help when you need it. This is why having someone around you that is an expert can be really helpful. So whether that's going to your advisor, other lab mates within your lab, or even external help, there are a lot of people out here willing to help you on academic Twitter and on YouTube, and I will link some of those YouTube channels below that are all about helping PhD students. My channel specifically aims to help you make your research easier. So if you're finding that your research is hard, maybe check out some of my videos. If you're early in your program and you're struggling with your research, you can get my free 30-day research jumpstart guide. The link's in the description below, and it's gonna help you learn your field and collect publishable data within 30 days following easy action steps. Tip number 3 for becoming a PhD student is to stop reading papers. Okay, that might have been a little dramatic, but basically, as a PhD student, we feel like we need to read so many papers. So we waste so much time reading all of these papers and not really learning much, or we have some massive folder that's our, PhD reading folder with just a bunch of PDFs in there that makes it feel impossible for anyone to be able to read that. I'm gonna be honest with you, during my entire PhD process, I probably only read maybe 10 papers all the way through. I've looked at probably hundreds of papers. I've looked at different things that I needed to know in those papers, but overall, I don't really read that many papers. And I was fairly successful in my research, and reading papers didn't lead me to being successful. So my suggestion for you is, if you're feeling like you need to read a lot of research papers, make sure you know why you're reading those research papers. If it's just because you feel like you need to read research papers, save yourself the time and go do something more productive. But if you think that there's something you really need to know that's within those research papers, then go dive into those and read them, or figure out what parts of that paper that you need to read to answer your questions. But don't just read research papers to read them. It's literally wasting your own time. And instead, use that time to jump into the lab, to jump into doing other things related to your PhD program, so that you can end up being more successful in the long run. Tip number 4 for PhD students is to recognize red flags and wrongdoings. In grad school, you generally have this pretty harsh power dynamic going on between you as the PhD student and those above you, specifically your advisor. There tends to be this really harsh power dynamic there. And then within labs, there can even be a harsh power dynamic between different years of students, so more senior students compared to earlier students. I think we're so trained that this is how things should be, that whenever we start seeing red flags or wrongdoings that people do, we go, oh, this is just what I have to endure to be able to get through and get my PhD, and then life's gonna get better. And I wanna suggest to you that that's not right, and you shouldn't have to endure that. There's no reason for you to have to endure that. If you start seeing red flags, advisors being inappropriate, advisors not doing what they should be doing to help you move forward, such as you're writing research papers and they don't read them for years, or you need certain things from them and they're not giving them to you within a reasonable time frame. If you're seeing things like this occurring, reach out to your grad studies department and talk to them, or reach out to your graduate committee chairs and talk to them. I had a situation when I was in grad school where I had a professor that wasn't doing the things that they should be doing related to their work. And I just thought that that was it. Like, I didn't have any place to go with that. I just had to accept that those things were never going to get done, and it harmed my career in the process. And later on, after even more things happened with that professor, I realized that there actually was a out for me. And if I would have been willing to speak up and talk with people earlier on in that process, I might not have had such a difficult time with my career and moving forward with my PhD. So I really urge you, if you see things going wrong, if you're early enough in your PhD program, think about rotating out of that lab or seeking a different lab to continue your PhD. And if you're later in your PhD program, reach out to your graduate committee, if you have one in your department, your chair of your department, or grad studies, to help you navigate that situation and make sure that other people are aware of what's going on to help that situation become better navigated. And my 5th and final tip is that your journey is your own. This is one of the first times where literally your entire journey through your PhD is completely your own. It's kind of like you're your own entrepreneur of your schooling journey while you're going through your PhD. You get to choose, to some degree, the classes you take, the research projects you focus on, and what direction you take those projects. You get to choose if you look for funding or not. So while all of these choices are really awesome, that you finally get to make these choices and you get some independence, at the same time, you need to recognize that you're responsible for your journey. It is up to you to make sure that you are in all of the classes that you are going to be taking, and that You're not looking for your advisor or other people in the department to tell you what classes you need to be taking. It's up to you to make sure that you're in the lab and that you're doing research. It's up to you to start writing those research papers, whether other people are helping you along or not. While some people are great at taking on this responsibility and they flourish under these really independent conditions, other people are not so great at it. And that's fine. This is kind of the first time that you've been put into this type of situation. And unfortunately, no one really helps you through that situation. No one tells you these are the good things to do. If you're struggling with time management and productivity, I really suggest you check out Dr. Toyin Ali's channel, and I'll have that linked above if you want to go check that out. She really helps walk people through how to be more productive and manage their time throughout grad school. On the other hand, if you're struggling with your research and you're not sure how to manage your research and the responsibilities of all of that, again, get my 30-day research jumpstart guide below. It's going to teach you how to learn your field, develop novel research ideas, test your ideas, create a research plan, and start collecting publishable data within 30 days, following really easy action steps per week. This process is actually really simple and anyone can follow it and start getting successful in their research from a really early stage within their PhD career. To recap, the top 5 tips that I have for all PhD students is to set your work hours, realize that research is hard until you figure out why research is hard, stop just reading research papers and only read them when you know why that you're reading them and what you're going to get out of them, recognize red flags and wrongdoings by those within your program, and let other people know or remove yourself from that situation. Recognize that your journey is your own, and while that can be really exciting, it also means that all the responsibility for your journey is on you. If you need to, seek out mentors, use your advisor and other people to help you be successful in your journey, but recognize that ultimately it is your journey to own and to live through. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, check out my guide below and recognize that there are so many resources out there for you as a PhD student. And if you have any questions or need more resources, comment below this video and I will try and hook you up with the best resources that are available for you. Thank you for watching this video, and I wish you the best of luck in your new year as a PhD student.